All right, so here we're going to be doing a drip rate problem. And the reason I know it's a drip rate is because it says so in the question part. Remember, I always go to the question part. And I see I want it to the nearest get or drop per minute. GTT per minute means drop per minute. I usually say get. That's what my goal is. And that's a rate. Find my order. My order is right here. Patient is to receive 5 milliunits of Pitocin each minute. So I'm starting with 5 milliunits per minute. That also is a rate. Good thing. Rates become other rates. So I'm now going to come up with my game plan. Like you guys have seen before, I do a game plan. In other words, I'm starting with this. This is where I start. I don't even look at the number. I just look at the units. And this is where I'm ending. And I start to say, well, what things do I need to change? Well, I need to turn minutes into minutes. Hey, that's good news. It's already there. I don't even have to draw an arrow. It's already done. But now I need to go from milliunits to gets. And so I've got to have some kind of relationship between those two, and I don't. So I'm going to have to back up, and maybe I can turn GTT into something that I can turn milliunits into. So I look through my problem, and I find a relationship between drops and something else, some other unit. And right here I see I've got 60 drops per milliliter. Now, a lot of people like to write that the way you see it here. I like to write it as an equation. And what that means is there are 60 drops for every 1 milliliter. Or in other words, 60 drops is equal to 1 milliliter. That's literally what that means. That means if you have 60 drops go by, you got 1 milliliter. They are equal. So I wrote that equation. Now I can use my pig pen method, and it's an equality as opposed to a fraction. I just like that better. If you like fractions better, use those. Next one, the IV bag. No, so what does that do? Don't jump ahead, John. I'm going milliliters to gets. All right. So now if I can somehow turn milliunits into milliliters, I'm done. But I got nothing in there that's going to turn milliunits into milliliters. But I do see something about units and milliliters right there. I know that there are 4 units in 500 milliliters. Or in other words, if I gave them 500 milliliters of my solution, I'm going to get 4 units into them. So 4 units is equal to 500 milliliters. That's not always true. It's true for this problem. Same thing with this one. So I'm going to put, what can I turn milliliters into? I can turn units into milliliters. Now, if I could just get milliunits into units. Oh, yes, wait a second. We know that anytime we talk about a milli of anything, we can turn it into just that thing. In other words, it's a universal truth that there are 1,000 milli of anything, in this case units, equals 1 of that same thing, in this case units. So I have 1,000 milliunits equals 1 unit. Now technically, guys, we really should write out the word unit. I wanted to point that out before. It's frowned upon to just write U because it gets confused with other things, but because we're just going through this learning process, I'm just going to write that. So I can see I've got 3 steps. That means I should need 3 pig pens, and the bottom's already done. So I'm going to take, and I'm going to draw out and make some more pig pens. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3. That should be all I need. So now I'm going to go, I'm going to start with milliunits and turn it into units. Which one of these does that? This one. Milliunits to units, milliunits to units. So what am I going to focus on? Well, that's milliunits, so I'm going to look over here at milliunits. I've got 1,000 milliunits. I want to put that in the opposite position. That's on top, this goes on bottom. And there's 1 unit for every 1,000 milliunits. I'm now done with that. I've done this. I cancel, and I can see I'm in units per minute. My next step is to go from units to milliliters. So what equation relates units to milliliters? This one. 4 units equals 500 milliliters. I have units I'm trying to get rid of them, so I'm going to take that 4 units and put it in the opposite position. I take the 500 milliliters and I put it in the only box that's left there in the pig pen. Milliliters, right? And then I'm going to cancel the units. I've got milliliters per minute. I don't want milliliters per minute. I want drops per minute. I'm done with this step. I've used that equation. I'm probably not going to use it again. I might. That's why I don't X all the way through it. I guess it's possible I can use it again. Probably not. I'm now looking to turn milliliters into drops. What well, this is the only one left, right? It's got drops, it's got milliliters. Hey, good deal. I've got milliliters in my problem, so I'm going to use the milliliters part of my equation, and the drops part goes just in what's left over. Then I cancel what I can cancel. Now, if I were just to look at my units, what are my units? On top, I've got gets. On bottom, I've got minutes. Good gosh, I'm ready to go. All I gotta do is multiply this out. I'm done. I've got the drops per minute. So I'm gonna take 5 times 500 times 60. Don't hit equals yet. Hit divide. So 5 times 500 times 60. And then just hit divide. 1,000. Don't hit equals. Hit divide again, because it's 4's on bottom as well, so divide by 4. And then all the rest of the things in there are 1's, and 1's don't really affect anything. So again, it's 5 times 500 times 60 divided by 1,000 divided by 4. Guys, if you're using the lockdown browser, this is also really nice to use this multiplication and division method on that lockdown browser, because I find it's really hard to have to like constantly use your mouse to multiply it. So this makes it a little simpler. I hit equals, and I get 37.5. Now, I wanted it to the nearest drop per minute. So if I get an answer of 37.5, I need to round that because it needs to be the nearest drop per minute, or in other words, to the nearest whole number. Well, that would be 38 gets per minute. And there's my answer. 38 gets per minute.